So we continue with the second part, and let's just look into different concepts starting from 6. So concept number 6 of transurfing is rustle of morning stars. Very poetic name, but what exactly does that mean, right? Rustle of morning stars. I will start with this little picture, and you are what you're looking for. Rustle of morning stars, simply speaking, is intuition, right? Well, in the context of transurfing, we say our soul has access to the whole information, all the information field, all the space of variations, right? Our spirit is always has this access to all this information, and someone would argue, right, that what you see in your dreams, this is exactly how it looks like, right? You see all these crazy scenarios and see these science fiction movies in your dreams, and those are different variations of the reality that also exist somewhere, like that you're tapping into it. But again, I don't want to go to esoteric, I don't want to go to metaphysical, I want to stay practical, right? Your soul has an access to the informational field. Your soul has the knowledge of what variation is good or bad for us, right? So this sensation of spiritual discomfort is rustle of morning stars. Or again, as I said, think about it as an intuition. Think about it as a gut feeling, right? When something doesn't feel right, right? We all have this feeling, and maybe you even have an experience of how this turned out not the way you wanted, or the opposite way, maybe the way you wanted when you have the good feeling. So the 6th rule of transurfing says, it is necessary to listen to the state of spiritual discomfort. If you have to persuade yourself, then the soul says no, right? You will find a similar principle in the book Essentialism by Greg McKeown, right? If it's not a clear yes, it's a clear no, right? Like many things, it's actually simplifies decision making quite substantially, right? You can think of many ways, like of how you can I don't know where you're making decisions, but I feel both essentialism and transurfing are very applicable to my own nature of work, like being in talent acquisition. Very much and very often it is an intellectual process, assessing of talent, but at the same time there is a big component when like what my more senior colleagues would say, like, trust your instincts, right? Trust your instincts, listen to your intuition. So in order for this to work, your body, your mind, and your spirit must be in alignment, right? What do I mean by body and mind and spirit in alignment? You cannot hear the voice of your soul if it drowns in the noise of your mind. This is where the meditation kicks in. This is where journaling kicks in. This is why it's so important to create space, so that your thoughts are not overwhelming you. They're not like all this thinking machine, always living in this noise and buzz, right? But actually have your time of quiet, have your time of silence and solitude, when you can sit down and really listen to the voice of your spirit, right? The noise of your mind is amplified if your body is constantly intoxicated, right? And this is if you're a smoker or a drinker, or if you eat meat a lot at least, right? These are all of the things. Or if you have if you don't sleep regularly, right? If you don't sleep enough, right? You're losing willpower. Your mind is more noisy, right? The way you treat your vessel, the way you treat your body, gonna instantly have a negative impact on your mind. And if your mind is noisy, if your mind is creating this white noise, right, you won't be able to hear the voice of your spirit. So that's basically the rule of transurfing. Live in accordance with live in agreement with your intuition. Get in alignment between your body, your mind, and the spirit. Next concept, the current of variations, right? So we talked about it, like you think of the space of variations as an ocean, but as we flow in life, think of it more like a river with many, maybe it's not many, maybe a very successful, very applicable picture here, but there are many branches, right? Or as we call them, channels of river. So you flow in life, right? And the way you flow, like again, you're using your GPS to understand where you go. John Maxwell said, life is a matter of choices, and every choice you make makes you, right? That's very much transurfing. So there are many ways of living this life, right? And this is again leaning on NLP, kind of a meta program. You can give into the current and flow in life like a wheelless paper boat, right? And it brings you to two possible positions, right? One position, when you take a position of a beggar, right? Like, what does that mean? Like you relinquish responsibility, right? You relinquish your responsibility for where you flow. You feel like, I'm gonna just flow with the current. I'm gonna see where the river takes me, and and with that kind of scenario, what you're really doing, like when you give in your responsibility, you give the responsibility to the pendulums and other people to choose for you, right? And that is the position of a beggar. Oh, like, please, life, give me something, right? You're expecting for the life to give you gifts where you do not accept and take on the responsibility for the direction of your life. You can also take a position of an offended person, and that we spoke previously in the self-discipline video about external and internal locus of control. This is very much an external locus of control, right? The world owes me something, right? And if you are taking this position, like that someone out there owes you something, like the government owes me, my parents owe me, my boss owes me, you're stuck in internal importance. For internal importance of yourself, right? And that's again very close to probably superiority complex as well. So and another position, if you are in the river, but you see your direction, you have a vision, but you're stubbornly rowing against the current, right? That's the position of a warrior. Like, I'm here to change the world, and I'm gonna be battling the pendulums and the injustice of this world. This is a very energy consuming position, very energy consuming stance to hold, right? And there are different options, right? You don't have to be a beggar, you don't have to be offended, you don't have to be a warrior. But what can you do here from the kind of transurfing position? Transurfing way is to be a taker, and taker, again, not a negative connotation, on the opposite, right? From the work of Adam Grant, right? If you read his books, Takers, Matchers, and Givers, on the opposite side, like, you need to be a giver, a giving person, and not a taker who's like, hey, like stepping on other people's corpses in order to get what I want. Not that kind of taker, but taker in the mentality, right? You do not ask, you do not beg, you do not demand, you're not offended, and you are not a warrior. You do not fight circumstances, right? You are a taker from the perspective of pure intention. And let me give you an example. It will explain a lot, right? So how does a taker with a pure intention act? You designate the goal, you understand what the goal is, right? And you take the steps toward the goal. So, for example, if you want a pie and you know there is a pie in the fridge, you go out there and you take the pie. You take steps. You walk. You may make 5 steps to the fridge, open the fridge, take the pie, cut the piece, put it in your mouth, chew, done, right? What kind of importance do you have? 0 importance. Why? Because you're coming from the place of pure knowledge. There is a pie. I can do the steps. I'm confident in my ability to take the steps. And that's the pure intention, right? And that's the transurfing stance, right? Like, if you have certain goal, if people live the way if there is a desired reality and it's already manifested in someone's life, it means it's achievable. You can make it, or you can make it happen, right? Even if you're not, right? Pablo Picasso said, right? If you can imagine, it's already real, right? If you can imagine it in your mind, it's achievable. Space of variations, it means all kind of variations are there. All you need to do is to navigate yourself there, take steps, and you will arrive, driven by pure intention. I hope it doesn't sound too confusing, but the 7 rule, excuse me, 7 rule of transurfing states, in accordance with the principle of moving with the current, everything should be done in the easiest and simplest way. And again, that's that's again having all these positions in mind, right? You do flow with the current as long as the current takes you where you want, but sometimes you will have to take action in order to pivot into a certain line of the space of variations in order to arrive in a different sector, not the ones that the river takes you, right? So do not rely completely on mind. We talked about it in the previous rule, right? Mind tends to complicate the solutions, right? Like this is where psychology kicks in. All the stress and worries and high internal importance, right? Like it's creating noise that hinders your ability to make sound decisions. Harmonize yourself with the external world and trust the current, right? This is what we talked about, and accept the deviations from the scenario. Like we always, and this is again coming with works together with the concept of internal importance. We see the things that we want them to be, and the expectations are high. We increase the internal importance, and then when the things don't happen the way we want, how do we feel? We feel bad, right? And understand that yes, you have a plan, right? There's certain things will happen in a certain way, but accept that the deviations can happen, right? Like, and sometimes the reality will give you, and it will give you even more. The universe will give you more that you expect, but in a different form, not the way you picture it. The capacity, and this is what we need to accept, that the capacity of our minds to envision and predict the future is very, very limited, right? Our capacity to foresee the future is very limited. Pay attention to signs. And that again brings us to intuition again. Signs warn us. They appear before the transition to another line. Like there are certain things, and you, I guess, you will have control over this, like to control over your own interpretation of what a sign is, but what kind of meaning signs have in your life. But do not ignore those things. Those things that are actually, they're serving you as saying like, hey, turn here, don't go there, right? And do not go here, go straight, or stuff like that. So to sum it up, right? Rule of the current of variations, right? Understand how to flow, right? Sometimes you have to be a boat. Sometimes you have to trust the current. Sometimes you have to take action in order to not to crush on the rifts. Next concept is the intent. We already talked about the intent, but interestingly, Transurfing speaks about the intent here. There are two types of intent that we want to talk about. If you read Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, when you found something, when you want something, the whole universe conspires in order for you to achieve it. That's one of the principles of Transurfing, I would say, just this quote alone, right? If there is something that you really want to manifest, you will start meeting people that will help you achieve it, right? You will start getting resources and tools. And if something brought you to this video and you're watching this right now, right, you've made all this way to here in order to find this piece of knowledge that will be a puzzle piece in your map that will help you to navigate further towards the reality that you want for yourself. Transitions to the desired sector of the space of variations are not realized through desire, right? And this is why, again, we talk about internal importance, right? It doesn't matter how much the things you want, and want is a very dangerous word by itself, right? Because when you say, I want, your mind interprets it as if already some action has been taken, where it's not. Everything, the manifestation process is realized through intent, through resolve, right? Through resolve to own and to act. That's the intent. And in Transurfing, we kind of segregate this into, we distinguish between internal intent and external intent. Internal intent is simple. This is your part. This is resolve to do something by ourselves, by focusing our attention, our energy, our efforts, and this intent translates directly into the process. External intent, that's quite different here from the Transurfing standpoint, right? You're choosing the line of life in the space of variations. Where do you want to sail? You give yourself permission to the variation to manifest itself, right? And saying, what does that mean? It's saying like the vision of the future, that you like gain clarity on the vision of the future and trust that this is possible, this is inevitable, right? This will happen. Deviations can occur. The final picture might be different from what you see right now. You do not have the full capacity of foreseeing the future, right? But this success, your version of success, is inevitable. Focusing on how the external events align themselves so the goal realizes itself. What does that mean? Again, seeing, like developing this ability to see how the universe conspires and helps you. Seeing how tools are out there, right? We are living in the age of saturation with information. There is no lack of tools of information or mentors or knowledge or books, right? There's just a way of how you organize it and assemble it in a way that works for you, right? But noticing this, that's the external intent. Noticing how the tools come, how the people come, right? And how the information comes to you and how everything helps you. Trusting the universe. That's the simplest. If I could put it in a simple way, external intent is trusting the universe and letting the universe do your part when you are doing your part, right? That brings me to the next rule of transurfing. The internal intent, our resolve, must be directed towards the unity of the soul and the mind, right? Again, we talked about it. Make sure you are in alignment. This is where you will see how the power, the true power of your resolve, when your body, your mind, and your spirit work together I guess the right way to say it, when your spirit aligns the mind and aligns the body in a way that maximizes the efficiency of your manifestation capacity. Our wishes are realized by the external intention to own our deep belief and concentration, how the goal is realized by itself, right? That's part of the inner game, right? From the psychological standpoint, having this affirmation, having this belief also that everything helps you. And this, just by doing this, you're programming your own psychology, right? In a way that you will operate. Again, all things work. NLP works with transurfing. Clarity without words, knowledge without hope, confidence without hesitation. That's what we call pure intent, right? This gonna happen. I'm gonna make it happen, and everything in the world will help me to make it happen, right? Confidence without hesitation. The pie is in the fridge. I'm gonna take steps. I'm gonna get it. And what does it mean? Pure intent. It means pure of internal importance, right? I'm not putting my goal on the pedestal. I'm not saying like, oh, this is an achievable goal, right? I'm not saying like, oh, this person that I want to be, like, wow, they're like gods. No, that's not. They all have they're mortals. They have 24 hours in a day. Of the things they do is they set the right systems, maybe a little bit of luck, right? But then again, luck is a byproduct of a grind. Let's come back. So that's about intent. That's about pure intent. Sorry for the disruption. Next concept is slides. Slides are a very interesting concept, right? Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. We see the world not as it is, but as we are, or as we are conditioned to see it, right? Again, NLP. You do not react to reality, only to your perception of reality, right? When all the mental filters kick in, your internal representation is very, very different from what the world actually is, right? We say grass is green. We don't know if it's green, right? Green is what we call a certain certain perception of the color, which is again just a part of visible spectrum of the whole electromagnetic waves out there that we do not have capacity to perceive, right? Here's a very powerful analogy. You say like life is a movie, right? In very simple terms. Life is a movie, but you are playing so many different roles there. First of all, you're an actor. You're playing the main role in that movie, right? Second role, you're a director, because you have certain degree of control over your life. You decide where you're gonna go, what you're gonna do, what you're gonna say. You're the one who is setting up the stage and the action, right? What the actor will do. You are at the same time is an audience. You are sitting in the cinema in a chair, watching the screen, and you're so fascinated by the action that is happening on the screen. You're observing the action on the screen, right? And it is captivating you, because sometimes you forget that it's all just a movie. It's all just a play. But with all these roles, we often forget that you also have a role of a real operator. You are there in the back of your mind, in the very depths and dark corner of your mind. You're sitting from the inside, looking through the cameras of your eyeballs, and you're seeing the reality unfold in front of you. You are sitting there and you are in charge of the real you see, right? Once you forget yourself in this illusion that you're an audience and you're just so captivating by the actor and the director and the action on the scene, you forget that you are actually in control and you can change the movie that you watch, right? You can have this awareness of always watching how the things unfold in front of you in the external world and even in your own mind, right? By being this inner observer, right? This real operator. A little bit mind-bending thought experiment, but I hope you're still with me. So with that being said, how does that ties together with the transurfing? Transurfing introduces the concept of slides. You're there, you're a real operator. What's the slide that you're gonna put in this machine? And the slide basically is a vision, right? And what is vision? Vision is a product of imagination, right? It's a distorted picture of reality. My reality is right now, right here. I'm sitting here in the city of Toronto in Canada, in my apartment that I rent, in my home office in front of the computer. That's my reality. Where do I want to go? What is my slide? What is the vision of the desired reality, right? And of course, you can have negative slides, you can have positive slides, right? Negative slides, they directly tied to self-esteem, right? You are amplifying your own weakness, and that's really kind of a meditation point to sit down and think: do I have those negative slides about myself, about the concept of self that I have? Positive slide, obviously, bring you confidence, right? They amplify your strengths. That's again tied very closely to how psychology affects, again, and it's not law of attraction, law of action, right? We have our slides, we have our vision, right? Our vision sets us on fire. We have these thoughts, we think first, we have this product of imagination, the vision of future. It sets us on fire. We feel emotional. It puts us in this emotional state when we feel driven. We want to go and accomplish goals, and that brings the behavior. We go and we do it. Very, very simple concept. That brings us to the rule number 8. Create yourself a positive slide, pleasant to the soul and the mind. Do not look at the slide as a picture, but live in it, right? At least virtually, right? Leverage the power of your imagination, right? And live in that future and see how it becomes real. And often look through your slide and add new details. As you go, as you progress, your slide will evolve, right? It's a constant iterative process. Your vision is constantly evolving. It's never becoming true. Your slide, and that's super important part. Your slide should be yours. It should be personalized. You cannot. Your version of success will be your individual version of success. Yes, definitely, you can look at other people's and you can take some elements and integrate into your big picture, right? But we are all different people. We are all unique beings, right? And what's yours, it's only yours. And what works for you should work only for you. Incorporate the unbelievable in your comfort zone, right? What you think, like the goals should be scary. It should look a little unreal. But that again, the transurfing mindset is, this is inevitable. It's going to happen, right? Give yourself permission to come to peace with the fact that you're worthy of all the best things in life, right? Again, psychological standpoint, right? That's programming your mind that you are worthy. You're worthy of everything. You are enough, right? You can achieve anything you want if you set your mind to achieve it, right? Transurfing stance, again, this slide that you have, that's already a variation of reality that exists. And all you need to do is to transport yourself, calibrate your transmitter, make your body move, and make you in the way that you want it to move, and take the actions, take the steps in order to slowly navigate to that variation of reality, right? Navigate to the variation of reality. Take 100% responsibility for programming your mind, right? Because your effectiveness in life is the clarity of purpose, right? Is how you calibrate again your transmitter. Visualization. The next concept is, again, it's tied to slides. We talked about it. Pablo Picasso, everything you can imagine is real. Visualization is daydreaming, but daydreaming with a purpose. I like this definition. What's the purpose of this daydreaming? You with a purpose to supercharge you, right? And that's physics, right? How does potential energy works in the world, right? Like you take you take a phone, you lift 5 centimeters from the ground and you drop it, right? That's the potential energy. Nothing's going to happen to the phone. You go to the 10th floor, throw your phone. That's the potential energy, right? The gravity does the job. Your phone is crashed completely, right? And in the same way, again, this is how physics works. How does metaphysics work? What's the potential energy of your goal? If you think about your slide, if you think about your vision, this vision is just, it's not an ambitious goal. It doesn't supercharge you, right? If this is a goal, like, hey, like I want to lose 300 grams, that doesn't supercharge you. If your goal is to get ripped and participate in a bodybuilding competition, I don't know why you would want to do that, but just an example, right? That can be the goal that supercharge you, right? And again, goals can evolve. You're moved not by the goal itself, but by the visualization of the process of moving towards the goal. And that's the transurfing piece, right? Process is the goal. Again, we talked about this quite a lot. 10th rule of transurfing: visualization is calibrating your transmitter, focusing your thoughts on the process of realizing the current stage on the way to the goal, right? What does that mean? How do we eat an elephant? Piece by piece. You set the goal. You look at the mountain. It's intimidating, but what do? We just crush, and when we move the mountain bucket by bucket. Set the goal, envision the path, plan the path, break it into achievable, measurable stages, and you focus on the current stage and enjoy it, right? That's what transurfing is about. When you surf, you love it. That's the feeling of flight. That's the feeling of freedom, right? That's never surfed, but I'm making an analogy with snowboarding again. And surfing isn't my to-do list, but you get the point, right? Build the path, break it into the stages, and focus on the stage. Focus on the process, right? And focus on enjoying the process, and transurf towards your variation of reality that you see in your mind. The soul fraile. Fraile is how do we explain it, right? It's your inner fire, right? Whatever is good for soul, do that. I like this saying, like someone said that. But we all are unique beings, right? And Pendulum will tell you, like, do as I do. This is why pendulums are so dangerous, right? All these kind of accumulations of people who vibrate at a certain frequency. Again, as I've mentioned, they can be positive for you if you know how to leverage them, and you stay. You do not get fully consumed, but you use them as a tool, right? But if you become a part of a community and you start being defined by the community, right? By spending time with people, you become more like people. By spending time alone, you become more yourself, right? Pendulums will tell you, do as I do, right? Behave like the group, right? Be a hive mentality. Pendulum will tell you, like, be like everyone else, right? And Pendulum will tell you, keep up with the Joneses. Get the next new car. Get the next big concrete box to live in. serve your avatar, put fancy clothes on it, put different bling blings, right, and all that kind of jazz, right? Whereas you forget that you're just a skin bag and you're about to expire. Sorry, don't want to get too negative here. Soul Freile, listen to your spirit, right? Soul Freile basically is like, you know, like we have, from a psychological standpoint, we have our personality types, like whatever, MBTI, Enneagram, whatever. We have our traits, right, as a person. Soul Freile is in a similar way. It's a kind of certain set of unique individual spiritual attributes of your soul, right, of your spirit. And when you're aligned, when your mind and spirit are aligned, that's where all these things come from. Your inner light, your charisma, your confidence, your magnetism. People who have very magnetic presence, who are super charismatic, very confident, and you can feel that the inner light, it shines through them, right? This is because they achieve this degree of alignment, right? They understand who they are and they understand who they are not, right? And that's basically the way to get to your true self. You know, if you want to understand who you are, understand what you are not, right? By eliminating redundancies, eliminating the falsehood of your personality, you will get to the truth. That I promise. The 11th rule of transurfing says your soul freile is the holy grail within you. In order to tune your mind to your soul freile, you need to convince yourself that your soul is worthy of love in the first place. You can't give love if you're not a loving being, right? That's as easy as it gets. When you accept yourself fully, you'll let others be the way they are, right? I'm uniquely myself. You are uniquely yourself, right? And that's, you start accepting people with lower degree of judgment. And when you also have awareness of pendulums, you start having compassion, right? And not like saying like, hey, these people are blind and they're sleeping, but hey, these people, they're probably consumed by illusion, and we all are to a certain degree, right? But this is the purpose in life, to liberate yourself from the illusion. And once you achieve a certain degree of freedom, help others to get to that degree of freedom, right? I don't know, at least this is, I see my mission, and this is, I guess, why I create this content for you. Concept number 12, and the last one here, goals and doors, right? Rumi wrote brilliant quote by Rumi. I love this piece. It's a piece of his poem. I have lived on the lip of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on a door. It opens. I've been knocking from the inside. This is just the truth of truths, which is written in a very poetic form. But if you grasp this, you will understand life, right? Again, it ties with everything, with the spirituality, right? With Buddhism, right? The truth is behind the words and behind the thoughts. Once you sit down, meditate, silence your mind, you will understand that all the answers they're within who you are and what you are. It ties to Stoicism as well as a philosophy, right? Like that again, like once you start cutting away and chopping away all the things that are not yours, that are not meant for you, right? You will cut down to essentials, and you will get very, very close to truth, right? It ties to existentialism, right? The reality that you experience is yours and yours only. Take full responsibility for your experience, right? It ties to NLP, right? All the answers that you need, the presupposition of NLP states that all the answers that you need, they are locked within you, right? And this is what coaches do, right? We have a conversation and we unlock all this stuff, right? Okay, I don't want to go too philosophical here, but in the context of transurfing, right? Happiness exists on the current line of life, or it doesn't exist at all. Resonates again with the New Age philosophy, right? Eckhart Tolle, folks like this. Happiness exists in the present moment, here and now, or it doesn't exist at all. Past is past, it's gone. It's an illusion. It's just a memory. It's a phantom of your mind. Future doesn't exist. It's an illusion. right? It's just some sort. It's again product of imagination. Future is a product of imagination. You say tomorrow I will do it. Tomorrow never comes. You wake up. It's always today. Here and now is the only reality, ultimate reality that happens. If you want to be happy now, right? Do not wait. You cannot wait, and this will be the moment you will hit the certain degree of liberation, when you understand that you don't need to wait when everything in your life is perfect and aligned to give yourself permission to be happy. Be happy now. That brings us to last rule of, not last, there are plenty, but here, 12th rule of transurfing. Happiness comes during the journey to your goal, through your door, right? Like there are many, towards your goal, there are many paths, and there are many lines. Not only one line can bring you where you want to be, right? There are many doors towards your goal. Your goal is something that gives you real pleasure, something that gives you feeling of joy and feeling of a feast of life. Again, this is why, as unique as you are, your goal should be also unique and also individual and also personalized, personally customized by you, for you, right? And your door is the path towards your goal on which you feel fascinated and inspired. There are different ways of achieving the same thing. How can you find that way that will be efficient, effective, but also pleasurable, also fill your cup? Finding your goal. We talked about this. What's important? How do I find my purpose in life? First of all, drop importance, right? From transurfing stance, stop. Like that's one of the most important thing in life. Indeed, this is what matters in life, because without purpose, right, you feel void, you feel darkness, right, and you feel you don't feel direction, right? But drop importance. You will figure it out. There is a variation of reality there, where you are purposeful, where when you have full clarity on your purpose, on your direction of life, and what do you want to do with it. There is a variation of reality where you, with that psychology and that knowledge and that wisdom, already exists. How do I get there? How do I manifest that variation of reality? So says step number 2, close your mind from pendulums, right? Like identify them, be aware of them, and develop very, very intentionally program your mind, calibrate your transmitter so that you do not absorb anything that distracts you, right? Everything that doesn't propel you towards your goals, towards your vision, really is a waste of time, right? Close your mind from pendulums. Listen to your soul, right? Listen to your soul, and again, in order to do that, you need to silence the mind, meditate, journal, create space. Everything, all this swarm of wasps that are flying around and buzzing in your mind, stinging you, like expel them, right? Like put them, like puke all your thoughts on the paper, and then you will be able to organize it. You will be able to control them. And then once you create that space, once you sit down in quiet, you put all the words that's in your brain, right, on the paper, you will start listening and you will start hearing, right? That could be like, do these three things, and finding your goal will not be a challenge anymore, right? It will be a quest. It will be a quest, and it will be a process that will require certain systems. Conflict, where the conflict comes from, right? The path to someone else's goal is always a struggle. I can tell you a lot, right? My grandmother is a brilliant chemist. She wanted me to be a chemist, and I spent 10 years in academia. But that's not how I built. I have the intellectual capacity of doing the science. I have zero interest in that, right? Like there are people who love this, who are built that way, who are designed that way. I am built in a way, this is like sitting and talking to people or alone myself in the room. If you want to achieve the goal in order to prove something to yourself and others, then it is not your goal, right? Your goal, there's no this importance for your goal, right? There's nothing to prove. Yes, initially, maybe, That could be a very, very first step in order to start moving, right? Like I will prove them wrong, right? And that's okay, all right? But it cannot be your motivation forever, right? You have to evolve as a being, and you have to evolve spiritually as well. Again, I say evolve. It's more like not like a process. It's a process of evolution, but it's very much a process of remembering who you truly are. If you made a decision in your mind, but your soul feels uncomfortable, then the goal is not yours, right? That's again, we talked about soul frele, listen to your spirit, listen to your heart. All right, so we've done that. I just want to wrap up with a little summary. So what we talked about, principles of transurfing, like understand your soul, like get aligned, listen to your spirit, right? And live by the dictates of your soul, where your heart takes you, where the spirit takes you. You cannot replicate other people's success, and don't try doing that, right? Listen to, but you need to be in that environment where you absorb a lot of success stories in order to understand, okay, I can take a piece of that, I can take a piece of that, I can take a piece of that, and I can synthesize, and I can come up with a certain version one of my success. And then start moving and then iterate on that. Bring the soul and the mind into harmony. We talked about it. If your mind is too noisy, if you're consumed by your thoughts, if you're constantly like thinking, if you're living in this illusion, I think, therefore I am, stated by Descartes, right? There's not much that's going to happen, right? It's true evolution as a being. You cannot achieve only through the evolution of the mind, right? You need to develop spiritually. Do not yield to extraneous influences that impose other people's goals, right? Again, any kind of pendulums, any kind of positive thinking can be a pendulum, right? Like positive thinking, again, as I said, to be mature individual, right? Like positive thinking is not the path that you take, right? You need more than that, right? You shouldn't chase happiness, right? Chase growth, chase pain, and chase suffering of growth. Like welcome it in a sense. That will give you more meaning, and meaning is more important than happiness. And I guess I'm quoting Jordan Peterson here. Do not fight with anyone or anything, including yourself, and maybe especially yourself, right? Do not fight yourself, right? Like your mind can be your enemy, or your mind can be your tool. If you learn how to tame your demons, how to use your mind, and like again, calibrate your transmitter so that it is your instrument of manifestation. Use what life offers you. See the signs. See like how life gives you gifts. I can give you so many examples when I was manifesting like from absolutely small ridiculous things. I was just thinking about them. When you're aligned, magic just happens, right? You just desire things and they just come to your life. That's like ridiculous how it is. But of course, big projects in life, like my immigration to Canada, it took a lot of movement, right? But did it happen eventually? Yes. Was it very smooth? No. Were there deviations? Plenty, right? And these kind of massive projects, they take time, right? But they will manifest eventually. Don't be afraid of nothing. Use your pure intention and take things. Like there is a variation of reality where everything exists. You just need to navigate there. So choose your path, act consistently, and everything will work out, and everything will fall into places. Trust the universe. External intent. So, some things to remember again. Transurfing is just a model, right? And like this, like it can be great. It can be a great tool. You can use it. You can integrate it into like your toolbox, right? Do not use it as a sole philosophy of leaning. Like I know there are like some transurfing coaches out there who make money with that, and that's great. Like I'm happy for them, right? But creating this transurfing coaches community, that's a pendulum. If it works for you, great, right? But if that's the only thing you do, and you see that like you're consumed completely by this, and it doesn't work alone for you, seek knowledge, seek wisdom elsewhere, right? Combine the full picture of your own life philosophy from multitude of philosophies. use it as a puzzle piece, not as a whole picture. That's the message that I want to share with you in the end. Thank you for being here, and that's a very, very long mind map, but appreciate your attention. I hope you made it through. Use transurfing, transurf well. The variation of reality where you want to go exists. Happy transurfing. Take care.